It's the truth, even the future, you know. You got P. Diddy crying in the courtroom like a hoe after getting 50 months in federal prison, right? I'm like, nigga, what you crying for? What you crying for, man? This is a win for P. Diddy, in my opinion. Any street nigga would tell you this, right? This man was facing life without parole on some of them charges. Maximum 15 on another charge. Ex trafficking. Nah, YouTube be. All types of crazy shit, right? Now we know P. Diddy, you know, he a scumbag type of nigga and things like that. He don't treat people well. He don't treat his employees well. But what we can't call Diddy is an ex-trafficker, right? The man is one of the only people to beat a federal RICO, because you got to compare the time you got to how much time you was facing, nigga. If P. Diddy would have lost that trafficking joint, they would have freezed all his accounts. He would have had nothing and would have got possibly life in prison. But I guess after Diddy must have beat those ex-trafficking charges, and mind you, he got convicted for flying prostitutes out to smash his girl, right? Let's keep it a buck. There's a lot of niggas who pay prostitutes to get flown out to smash them. So he basically got convicted for some shit a bunch of niggas be doing. I just gotta keep it a buck. But what's weird is, I'm not gonna say exactly what he be doing. Like, ain't no niggas flying male prostitutes out to bust down a woman, but niggas will fly out them for them to bust them down, which is a federal crime if niggas didn't know that, right? You fly out a bitch and pay her for sex, it's a federal crime. You drive, even if you're not paying, right? I believe they say if two men, say you from the DMV, right? You from the Maryland side, you go to VA, you and your man bag a bitch out the VA and drive her to Maryland to engage in sex. That's a federal crime. You basically can't take a bitch across state lines to engage in sexual acts, right? They call it the Mann Act. I bet they do. Even though they say it works both ways. But there's not a bitch that have ever been locked up and charged with the Mann Act, right? But Diddy was in a courtroom crying, boo-hooing. I guess he thought he was gonna get out, right? Now, I believe the sentence was where I thought it would probably be. I thought that would have been the fair sentence, right? Even though the charge is crazy, you know what I'm saying? But after he got convicted, I gotta go by what's fair. He was facing 10 on each count. The judge ain't like Diddy, right? Diddy already been in a year, so he's gonna get that time credited. The judge could have been like, man, look, I'm gonna give you 10 on one joint and 10 on the other joint consecutively, right? When you get sentenced to prison, they got something called, if you got two different charges, if you get time for two charges, you can get sentenced consecutively, which means you gotta do one, say you get 10 years for this charge and 10 years for that charge. If you get sentenced consecutively, you have to do the 10 years for that charge, then start the 10 years for the other charge. If you get it concurrently, that means both of the charges you do most likely you had Diddy's lawyers trying to get time served. And I believe the judge was like, we're going to give him 50 months. And he probably got time credited for the year. Diddy's about to be out in like 2 years and some change. So I don't know why he boo-hooing in there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's scared to go to federal prison. I don't know. But to be facing what P. Diddy was facing and to only be about to be doing 2 years, which means Diddy will probably be about 57 and a half when he get out. Diddy good. You know what I'm saying? I know he's trying to get out and get back to them freak-offs and all. Because, yes, he can still have freak-offs as long as he ain't flying the prostitutes out of state. Because they're basically saying, look, man, Cassie was with it. Cassie was saying she was forced, coerced. She had to do it. She had to get beat. She didn't want to do it. They were saying she was down with it. She was a consenting participant in the situation. And the jurors agreed that she was down with it. Let's call it what it is. Yeah, it was foul how he kicked her in the head and all that with his knees knocking and shit. Did he come out there? Yeah, that was crazy. And to keep it a buck, I don't know how that wasn't kidnapping to drag a bitch back in the hotel room against her will. I don't know. He ain't get charged or convicted of that. So I gotta go by what he got, charged and convicted of, right? I'm like, for the ex-trafficking, even though at first it sounded crazy, right? When you see all these charges, you're like, man, shit. And then that video came out. People was like, whoa, Diddy was out here ex-trafficking, right? When you was thinking about, I was thinking about the joints he had on payroll and things like that. But where I believe Diddy got saved and beat the joint, this is why I believe Diddy didn't get convicted of ex-trafficking, because ex-trafficking is basically you profiting off selling somebody, right? That's what it usually is. Now, I believe if Diddy was flying out Cassie to, say for an example, rich old men or any type of man to have sex with her and get paid, and he was like flying her around, ex-trafficking her, I would have believed then he probably would have got convicted of that, right? Or if all them other joints like allegedly 50 Cent Baby Mama and Young Miami, if he was having them out there, if he was getting paid for ex-trafficking them, then that would have been different. Because when you think about it, you would think that's what ex-trafficking is, right? You're making money from selling somebody, right? Sexually. Diddy wasn't making money. He was the John. When you really look at it, he was the one paying the prostitute, not profiting off the prostitute. So I believe that was a significant part. And shout out to Diddy lawyers for having the balls to bring in the X tapes and showing the jurors. The crazy thing about it is that might have been what saved Diddy from losing everything and getting life in prison if he didn't have that shit on tape. I believe them jurors went on that joint, seen that joint, and was like, man, ain't no way, man. Cash was probably in that joint with it. Own it. Loving it. So there's probably like, what the fuck? And then you heard some of the ex-worker niggas, the nigga that came on camera. I believe he got interviewed by Tasha K. He was busting Cassie down. He was like, Cassie was loving it, right? Cassie used to hit him up and things like that. So I believe people ain't looking at Cassie the same, number one, right now. I'm not here to say Cassie ain't get abused and things like that. Diddy was foul on that. I'm just specifically speaking on the RICO, the ex-trafficking. I don't believe Diddy was trafficking you, right? And then you got to think about it. If Cassie was that afraid of Diddy, why was she running around with Kid Cudi? Right? That's like an abusive wife who's scared of her husband, who think he gonna kill her and he be beating on her. She decided to go cheat on him publicly. Would that make sense? If she was really that afraid of him and feared for her life, no, she would not go cheat with him publicly out in the open, because she would be afraid that he's going to retaliate for that. Right? So I believe that was what happened with the situation. Maybe Diddy thought he was going to, get out, but he going to have to sit. You know what I'm saying? You going to have to sit for the situation. Niggas need to think twice about flying these hoes out. I think that was just a P. Diddy thing anyways. You know what I'm saying? Because even in that situation, it was still wild because of what he got convicted of. Remember, the Mann Act, they said, is if you fly prostitutes out to engage in a sexual act. Last time I checked, they made it clear that Cassie called them up a couple times to fly them dudes out, and she was the one that engaged in the act and paid them. Yet she didn't get charged with that. So if they're going to charge Diddy with that, why ain't they charge Cassie with that? I'm just saying, why didn't they charge her with that, right? She paid dude to get flown out and blow her back out. Diddy just sit there and watched and beat off like the freak ass, weirdo ass nigga that he is. Weirdo ass nigga, right? That ain't gonna change in my opinion. Diddy's a lame nigga to me. He's a weirdo ass nigga to me. Funny style nigga. Grimy nigga. A piece of shit ass nigga. The way he treat people and things like that. All the above. But hey, he ain't an ex-trafficker and he beat that situation. But he gonna have to sit there because in the feds, you do about 85 to 90% of your time, right? If that was a state charge, Diddy would have been out in a year, right? But because it's feds, he probably be out in 2. He probably do like 3 and some change off that joint. And Diddy gonna get out. I believe Diddy will never get back to where he was before this whole situation happened, right? You're gonna have some people who support Diddy and things like that. A lot of niggas in the industry turned their back on Diddy that Diddy was cool with. Hey, maybe some of them did it for a good reason. If you're Diddy, I don't believe you can come out and be like, man, why ain't y'all niggas, have my back? Woo. Like, nigga, fuck you mean, nigga? You ain't about to fuck up my bag. Ain't nobody told you to get into that situation. I'm not attaching myself to you with that situation. I ain't call you out. But, nigga, I'm not about to be out here. Nah. Let Ye come through and support you, because really it was look at the niggas that came through and supported him. It was Ray J, Kanye, I believe 50 Cent BM or somebody. They said Young Miami wrote the judge a letter. The only reason why Young Miami all of a sudden tried to write a letter allegedly in support of Diddy was because she knew Diddy was gonna get back out. She knew Diddy didn't lose everything. When everything was hitting the fan and P. Diddy was looking like he was about to get life in prison, possibly lose all his assets, lose all his money. I believe Diddy lost like 400 mil, right? He's still rich. He ain't no billionaire no more. Young Miami was quiet as his church mouse. Ain't had nothing to say. As soon as Diddy beat all the serious charges, then Young Miami wanted to fake write the judge woo-woo so she can say, yeah, I wrote the judge woo-woo. Because she knew, look, the most he could have got was 10. Now, he could have got 20. I don't believe it would have happened because that would have been overkill. It would have been like, it goes on your guidelines, right? Two people can catch the same exact charge, depending on what that charge is, right? And get different time, right? Because if two people commit the same type of crazy murder, they both could still get life in prison. It don't matter if you caught a charge or not. You commit a certain crime, your first time, you're done. But I'm saying, say two niggas rob a liquor store or something like that, right? Is one nigga's first time ever catching a charge? Is this nigga's second, third time catching a felony? The nigga who second time it is gonna get way more time. But once Diddy got convicted, I don't believe Diddy really had anything that was still on his record. All his other shit was some back in the day shit, right? And we know what happened with that whole Sean situation. Diddy done beat that joint. Man, I mean, Diddy a bad boy, man. When you start looking at the situation with Diddy that he done been through, I don't know if a lot of people knew about this, but back in the day when P. Diddy was younger, when Diddy first came out, Diddy actually got in trouble for a situation where Diddy had a venue in like a gym, right? He threw a concert. This was when Diddy was like young, when he first started getting to the game, when he basically dropped out of college at Howard University out DC. Diddy had threw in a concert in a gym that was small for the amount of people that was supposed to be coming, and something happened. A stampede ended up happening in the joint, and like some people died in that situation, right? He got in trouble for that. They was trying to beg him for that. You know, Diddy wiggled his way out that situation. I don't know how we did that, but that's how that case went. Then you had the whole Sean situation in the club when he was with J-Lo. Witnesses claiming Diddy was the trigger man. The lady got shot in her nose. Sean allegedly took the charge. Diddy wiggled his way out of that joint. Now we're seeing this situation where the federal government done bagged you investigating the situation for years, probably raid your shit, did all that. They did all that for Diddy to only about to do 4 years. He beat it, right? Probably spent 20 mil on lawyers. The average nigga would have been done on that whole situation, but the average nigga wouldn't have been doing what Diddy was doing anyway. So I don't know why he out here crying. I don't know why he out here acting like he got life in prison or something. Man, if I was Diddy, look, you supposed to be doing the P. Diddy dance. Ain't that what you supposed to be doing? Nigga, you was facing life and got 4. Time credited for 1. Probably gonna do 2. Now, you ain't gonna have the same aura and respect like you did. Like, Diddy basically gonna be canceled everywhere. He ain't gonna be on no award show. It's gonna be a bunch of rappers who ain't gonna want to be seen with him and things like that. But in my opinion, what I would have to say about that is, look, I believe once a nigga did do his time, it is what it is after that, right? The man did his time. He's coming out. You get a fresh start. Going to jail and doing your time is almost like being born again, almost, right? Because A lot of niggas, average niggas, you lose everything, right? If you had a job, you lost your job, you lost your apartment, your card got repoed, your girl probably broke up with you, you ain't seen your kids in 5 years, your clothes got thrown out the apartment you was renting, all the niggas stole your shit that was out front. You get out with no clothes, you get out with nothing but the clothes on your back. Literally got niggas getting out of jail with literally the clothes on their back. That's why these niggas be pen paling these hoes. These hoes clothing these niggas, buying them shoes, feeding these niggas, and all types of shit, right? It's like a fresh start. So I believe Diddy should be entitled to a fresh start if you was his mans. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody else have the right to be like, fuck you, Diddy, you foul, you grimy, woo woo. That's the internet. People have the right to do that. But if you was cool with somebody, they caught a charge and shit, they get out. You still trying to distance yourself from them. How much of a friend was they really, right? But it looks like Diddy's gonna have to sit, man, for some light shit, if you ask me. The OGs in jail would probably be ready to beat this nigga up if he in there complaining about that low ass 4 years he got. Niggas don't want to hear niggas with lifetime crying, complaining in that joint. Nobody. You got niggas in that joint in there for life, 15, 20, 10. They don't want to hear no nigga with a couple years crying in that joint. I'm out.